How do you compare to other Americans financially? It's a question I get asked a lot, and today I'm going to share with you some data that I think you're going to find really interesting. You know, what does the average person get in Social Security? What does the average person have saved? When does the average person retire? Things like that. Be sure to stay to the end, because one of the things I'm going to share is, you know, over the last 40 years, what's happened to the average retirement age? And I think you're going to be surprised when you hear the numbers. I certainly was. So let's jump in. Okay, the first piece of data that people ask all the time is, you know, what does the average American make? What's the average salary? And the average salary is about $1,000 a week. And if you think about a 40-hour work week, it's a little over $1,000 a week. So it's close to $26 an hour is what the average American is making. And that's anyone over 18. So there's definitely some lower paid entry-level positions in there, but then there's also some of the higher paid positions after people build up their skill set. So again, the median individual salary for a full-time worker. Now this is median, which is different than average, right? Average, you know, if you had 99 people that were all making $50,000 a year, the average would be $50,000. But if you added one more person to that list, and let's say it's you know, Warren Buffett or Jeff Bezos, they're going to dramatically skew the average, but they're not going to dramatically skew the median. The median is half the people make more and half the people make less. So that's why I share the median in that. Again, $1,000 a week. Okay, what does the median American have saved for retirement? And this is for all people over the age 18 that have at least one account. So for the unbanked Americans, they're not going to be in this data, but the average American has saved $65,000. So the average person over 18 years of age that has an account, the average American has saved $65,000. And you know, that's a scary number when you think how much it actually takes to be able to retire. I suspect many viewers of my channel are doing quite a bit better, but again, I wanted to share what the numbers are. Okay, Social Security. What does the average American get in Social Security benefits? According to the Social Security Administration, the average American payment once they retire is $1,550. So right around $21,000. Now, again, I should have said median. That's the median benefit. And let's see if there's anything else here. Oh, you can find what your payment is likely going to be. This is not the average, this is not the median household, this is the average person. And you can find what your likely payment is going to be by going to the Social Security Administration website. They also send you once a year a statement where you can get a feel for, you know, if you were at retirement age now, based on your work history, based on your salary history, what would you be getting paid? Okay, the average spending. The average spending is $67,000 a year, and the largest expense of that is housing. And housing tends to be just under $2,000. It's $1,900 a month. Transportation is actually the second largest expense. That's just under $1,000. It's $900 a month. And then food ends up being $700 a month. And about 60 to 70% of that is spent at home, and the other is spent eating out. So that's the average spending, and you can see if the average American worker is making $1,000 a week, and the average spending is $67,000, you can see it's getting harder in America to get ahead, to save, and to do what you can. But you know, I think the area that most people can start saving money without it feeling sacrificial might be with the car, right? I'd be surprised if my transportation, and that includes your car insurance, that includes gasoline, that includes maintenance, but I'd be surprised if that's over $500 a month for me, simply because I don't mind buying used cars. I don't mind buying a car with 8 or 10 years on it. I like for that steep depreciation to go away. And then I like keeping my cars well maintained and driving them for a while. And I don't share this because, you know, I think my way is the best way. I just think for a lot of us, we could start saving money, maybe we could start saving $400 a month, which would be about $5,000 a year. And you can see, based on a $50,000 median individual income, that saving $5,000 a year is a 10% savings rate. That's a good start. So give that some thought. It may not work for you, but it might. Okay, the median household net worth. Now, household net worth is different than your savings, right? Savings is what you have in your retirement account, in your bank account, stuff like that. Your net worth, and let me use an example. Your net worth is the value of your assets minus the value of your liability. So if you have a $400,000 house and you owe $300,000 on it, if that was your only asset and your only debt, your only liability, then it would be your $400,000 house less $300,000 mortgage. So your net worth would be the difference, which would be $100,000. I hope that makes sense. So again, the median household, not individual, but median household net worth is $122,000. Okay, and how does that break out by age? I think people are going to find this to be super interesting, right? Hopefully, as we get older, we're building up our net worth. We've had a chance to save up a down payment for a house. We've had a chance to buy a house. And I mention house just because that's how a lot of us start saving. Building up our net worth is with a house. So as we get older, hopefully we can buy a house. Hopefully we can start paying it down. Hopefully the house appreciates. So here's how the numbers break down. For people that are under 35 years of age, the average household net worth, not individual, but median household net worth is $15,000. If you're 35 to 44, the median household net worth is $91,000. So now we're starting to approach $100,000. 45 to 54, it's $168,000. Now, in your 40s is when you want that asset base to really be growing so that you have several decades before you retire for that money to really start working harder for you than you are for putting new dollar bills into your account. I hope that makes sense. So, you know, as your net worth builds, as your retirement savings build, as that starts to grow and compound, it can actually increase the value of your account, the value of your net worth, more than the money you're actually putting into the account. So again, 45 to 54 is $168,000 median household net worth. 55 to 64, you can see it continues to tick up, is $212,000. Then 65 to 74 is $266,000. So that's how that median household net worth, not individual, but household net worth, averages out to $122,000, but it tops out at 65 to 74. And be sure to stay to the end. We've got one more data point that I'm going to share with you. What's happened with the average retirement age in the United States. And for me, it was eye-opening. It was shocking. So stay tuned. By the way, if you like this video, if you find this information helpful, take a quick second, hit the like button. It really does help other people find these videos. And leave me a comment. I love reading your comments. Thanks. Okay, let's keep going. What is the average savings rate in the United States? The average savings rate in the United States is 6%. And I think, you know, there's a rule of thumb that a lot of us have grown up with that said, you know, I think our parents have always taught us, you know, be good with your money and save 10% of what you earn. And I think that's a good place to start. Obviously, the average American at 6% is below that. But I think, and I know it's aspirational, I think 20% is a better goal, a better aspirational goal for us to have. And many of you may be thinking, Azul, how am I ever going to start saving, you know, 20%? That's a big, big number. And I think there's two ways. For most of us that are already working, I think one way to look at this is look at your raises. And as you get a raise, there's money that you're going to spend for your current self, and then there's money that you're going to save for your future self. And think about your raise, you know, half for you today and half for you in the future. Hopefully that makes sense. Also, if you're a recent college grad, or you've just learned a craft and you've got your first job where you're starting to make what we call real money, think about not increasing your lifestyle all the way up to what your current salary can afford. You know, you were living as a poor student for a while. You can probably step up quite a bit and it'll feel great without starting to spend all of what you can make, okay? So hopefully that's helpful. The last thing I'll share, I shared earlier about the car payment. for a lot of us, buying a used car is instead of a new car, and keeping a car a couple more years if we've already bought a used car can really help us out. So those are my ideas on saving more. Again, the average American savings rate is 6% of what they make. Okay, now on to what I promised. The average retirement age. So I graduated high school in 1982. So this data is from 1986 until now. And this is from two different sources. One is Forbes and one's Yahoo Finance. So what is the average retirement age now? For men, currently, it's 65, and for women, it's 62 years old, and that's according to Forbes. And that's currently, that's now. So again, 65 for men and 62 for women. But I was interested, you know, what was this retirement rate 30 or 40 years ago? So I found data on Yahoo Finance from 1986 for Americans. In 1986, the average age of retirement for men was 62, and for women, it was 57. So you can see for men, it's gone from the average retirement age of 62 to 65, and for women, it's gone from the average age in 1986 of 57 years old up to 62. So that's a big difference. And I think there's a couple factors there. One is hopefully we're healthier. We don't feel the need to retire. Now, if you're in a job where you're doing hard physical labor or you're on your feet all day long, you know, your body can only do so much. So hopefully the reason folks in those situations are working longer is because they're healthier and they feel they can. Unfortunately, I suspect part of it is, frankly, it's just harder to make it in America today for the average family. I think there's really become a dichotomy. There's the office workers, the knowledge workers that have done really well, and then the service economy really has lagged, unfortunately, behind that. So I think there's two factors to play. Again, 1986, men were retiring at 62. Now we retire at 65 on average. 1986, women were retiring at 57. Now they're retiring at 62, so 5 more working years there. That's a big difference, and I want to close with this. If you're 60 years old, I really want you to think about how you're spending your time, and I want you to think about the cost of working one more year. You know, for many of us, that's just our reality. We have to do that. But here's something to remember. If you're 60 years old, and if we're lucky, we have 1,000 weeks left of healthy, active living. So be cognizant, be thoughtful and deliberate on how you spend each and every one of those weeks, because 1,000 weeks isn't much. So until next time, I'm Azul, encouraging you to take full advantage of the youth of your senior years. Remember, we're only young once. Let's use our time wisely.